Camera number 378 is the Konica Acom-1, more popularly known as the Konica Auto Reflex TC. So the camera is a shutter priority camera, which also can be used in manual mode. But to use it in shutter priority, you need to put batteries in. The batteries are the slightly, not so difficult to obtain, but the 625s. These are 2V 625 batteries, 1.35 volt batteries. I suppose you could use two LR44s, but you'd need to provide some sort of packing, otherwise it will move around too much. And also they're slightly higher power, they'll be 1.5 volt. So we put the positive terminal uppermost in the battery compartment, which I haven't done. Not that easy, is it? There we go. Okay, and then put the battery chamber door in position, if I can. There we go. Aside from that, on the base, while we're on the base, we have the usual suspects, the tripod mount and our little release lever that separates the shutter advance so that we can rewind our film back into our canister. So looking to the front, we have our lens release. Now the lenses are the Konica lenses, or AR lenses I think they're known as. And lenses that have AE or EE on them. This is an adapt tool too, so I've not actually been able to get it to work in shutter priority. I've only been able to use manual mode. So I don't know whether that's true with all sort of third-party lenses, or the adapt tool certainly. But certainly the Konica lenses, if they've got EE and the lens is put to that, then the camera then turns into a shutter priority camera. I hope that's clear. I will be testing you on this later on. So lens release mount, and apart from that we just have the self timer, which let's wind the film on. And I thought we had to press the button, but we don't. There we go. So you'll see the mirror lifts out of the way while the shutter counts at typically 10 seconds and then comes back down. There we go. Except this one doesn't obviously want to go fully. Okay, so I think that's all pretty much on the front, so just put the lens back on. There we go. On the top plate we have our film advance, our shutter, our film counter, our shutter actuation, and then our speed of shutter dial that goes from B all the way up to 1/1000th of a second. And then if we lift the collar, we can then choose our film speeds as well. And just on the other side we just have our film rewind crank, we have a hot shoe and our viewfinder, and this little button here turns our meter off, and so when we lift the film advance it turns the camera on. I don't know whether you can see the little red button there, and then when we want to turn the camera off we just press the button, and then that pushes the film advance back into its position. Now there's no way to lift up, I thought, oh, it's broken. You don't actually lift up the rewind crank. To open the film chamber we just press the little slider switch, and there is actually a cutout here, so we just drop the film canister in at an angle, so we can't actually lift this up at all, and then we put it into the sprockets and then we can advance our film. I will have to replace those seals, I think. Okay, looking through the viewfinder, we have aperture numbers, and one interesting part about the camera is whatever lens we put on, in the scale there is a little red area, and that will move depending on our maximum aperture. So on this occasion I've got 3.5. When I look through the viewfinder there's a little red indicator that starts at 4, so it actually shows you the range of apertures that are available to you for that given lens that you're using at that time. So I thought that's a nice little feature there. And so when we look through the viewfinder, if we set the lens to, as I say, AE or EE, then we set the shutter speed and the camera will respond by indicating the aperture. If in my case you don't seem to be able to do that and we have manual apertures, then we're in effectively manual mode, and so we choose our shutter speed, and the camera will actually indicate what aperture it thinks it should be for that given shutter speed. So it is a metered mode, which is useful, and particularly, as I say, since I don't have that lens which has a EE on it. So I think that's pretty much it really. It's a nice camera. It's the Konica Acom-1 or Auto Reflex TC, camera number 378.